Alright, everyone, I said I was gonna give it to y'all. I was gonna share a story time with y'all about when my daughter got dropped off at the wrong bus stop. Well, before we get started, if you are new to my channel, my name is Jackie. Thank you so much for being here. And yeah, um, the little story time, guys. Let me tell y'all, cause I don't know if a lot of y'all have seen, but I do get a lot of love on my community tab, but on my community tab, I'm always like writing little posts. What would you do if this happened? Whatever. I ask like a lot of different, questions to, just anybody, random people, and that have like I do polls and all that on there. So I did a on my community tab the other day. I had wrote on there, what would you do if your first grader was dropped off at a bus stop? All right. Well, let me tell you guys, this happened to us. This happened to my daughter when my daughter was in first grade. She she had to go to summer school. Was it first or
It
was it
smelled good,
second,
baby.
baby? Yeah, baby, I just got the shower. Was it first, baby, or was it second? I think it was
I don't know. It
first.
was the worst feeling in the world.
Yeah.
The worst. The worst.
My daughter. Look. First off, let me say, it was her first day of summer school. She had to go to summer school. This was during summer school, and that was her first day. That morning when I put her on the bus, I had said, I had called my husband and I said,
No,
look,
she didn't have to go to summer school. She wanted to go to summer school just to go. Remember, we had
well,
to
well,
pay. We paid for it. Remember?
I mean, I'm not sure. I really don't remember how that
Yeah, we
went.
paid for it, and because once she got lost, we was like, that's it. She ain't going to school no more for summer. Remember? And we paid for it.
Oh, wait, yeah, because
Remember?
yeah, because she still passed. Yeah, and they should
she
not ever
still
did
passed
that.
but she wanted to do school just to do it.
Yeah,
Remember?
I think they said it'll help her out a little bit too in
Oh,
her
yeah,
math, if I'm
mine
not
wanted to do it.
mistaken.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I really don't remember. I think she was in first or second grade. I'm not sure. But, anyways, they okay, that morning when the bus came for her, there was nobody on the bus. She was the only one getting on the bus, so it was already scary. I'm like, oh my god. When she was getting on the bus and they sat her down and she sat like in the seat. She was the only kid in the bus, remind you, okay? So she's looking out the window and I'm looking at her when the bus is leaving and I'm like, oh my god, I felt like I just gave my daughter to just a random guy and it was a guy riding the bus, okay? I was like scared. Like for I called my husband, I'm like, so that was the morning. That was the first day that that she was in summer school. That was that first day. No, anyways, I'm getting tongue twisted because I want to talk about everything at one time. Um, but I only got 10 minutes, so we gotta make it fast. Long story short, I put on that bus that morning, and I already had a bad feeling. My husband's like, "You should never send her." I'm like, "Well, I didn't have the car to take her to school, so I had to put her on the bus." Um, and I was like kind of in a rush, so I had to put her on the bus, and that was a bad sign. Okay, so then when it was time for her to come home, she never arrived to the bus stop on the time that they said that she was supposed to arrive at the bus stop. So we were like, "What the heck is going on?" We're calling the school. The school's not answering because at 3:30 they cut off all phones, so they weren't answering. So we literally had to go over to the school, and we were like, Maya was here. She has summer school. I mean, she got on, this bus, whatever, whatever. The bus never got there. Um, and they were like, "What?" So they try to contact transportation. They call the cops. We had to call the cops and everything. Remind you guys, it was raining on this day. It was a really, really, really bad storm, and me and my husband felt so helpless, like because we were like, "How are we gonna help her? There's no way we can help her right now." Like, we were thinking the worst. Honestly, my husband was like, "Somebody got her. They're about to rape her." Or
Yeah, it was like an ugly feeling. It was like, yo, we lost her forever. Somebody got her because they was like, yo, she got off the cheese and she went with some little girl to her house.
and
And
she
I'm
was like
like,
probably like 10, 15 minutes away from our house.
yeah,
So
it
the
was
bus, I
scary.
didn't even know the bus went on that side of not town, but on that side of our side. So I was like, they had to call the cops, and the cops like, what does she look like? We had to show them pictures and all that. The principal had to come over to our house and watch our other kids while we're with the cops driving around looking. Remind you, it was raining, it was storming. You really couldn't see in the front of you. And I'm sitting in the back seat of the cop car, and we're driving around, and we're like, to see if we can see her walking the street. And I'm thinking the worst, like, oh my god, like my daughter could be in one of these cars. Like, it was the
Yeah,
most
it was.
scariest freaking feeling ever. I don't ever wish on nobody, because I couldn't imagine how these parents feel and they can't find their kids for real and they're missing for days. Because my daughter was missing for 3 hours and it felt like the longest 3 hours
I
of
remember
our
I
life.
went to some apartments because at first, before they knew what stop she got off at, I'm going to everybody's apartment and just knocking in and damn me like putting my head
Like
inside
my
people's
husband
houses.
started like
Yeah.
not hallucinating, but he's like, oh my god, she's in one of these apartments.
Yeah,
Somebody
catch
got her.
anxiety. Like I was just like, dude, like
Because she's little. She didn't know our
yeah,
number. And let
I'm
me tell
like,
you, right after that happened, we started teaching all of our kids
address.
our numbers. Like, our kids know our address, our numbers, everything. That's another thing, parents, as I know there's a lot of parents that watch me, that have, smarter kids. It is really, really important for them to know y'all's address and know y'all's numbers. Because let me tell you, and ever since then, I even write the address and numbers on my kids' backpacks. I don't even play no more. Like, it's because it was the scariest feeling. If you're probably thinking why it took 3 hours, why it was like so long, was because the school was already closed. They already had cut off the phone lines. You know what I'm talking about? Because they know this was gonna happen. They thought she was gonna get here and everything was gonna be, safe. Everything's gonna be good. But no, that they ended up dropping her off at the wrong spot with another little girl. Well, anyways, and so where they dropped her off, the other little girl, she was with their grandparents, and that little girl, and they were trying to call the school and they couldn't get a hold of the school because the phones were off. So the grandparents are just like, oh my God, we'll just hold this little girl till somebody shows up over here because they're going to come looking for her. And my daughter didn't have no number, nothing. Guys, I'm telling you. It was the scariest freaking feeling ever. And I'm crying, my husband's crying. We're like a mess, like for real. We were already thinking the worst, like somebody took her, they're about to kill her. Like yeah, like it man, I'm telling you. So, I'm riding around with the cop, and I'm in the back seat. And remind you, we can't see at the front of us because it's raining, pouring down. So I'm like, if it's raining like this, she's not gonna be walking around. She's hiding under something or something because it was raining really, really hard with thunder and everything. Like it happened at the wrong time. Well, it should not have ever happened. Period. But so they finally got a hold of transportation. Transportation told us where they dropped. They had to go through the cameras and go see where she got off at. So they were going through all the cameras. The police were over there at the transportation, place, transportation barn, looking at the cameras so they could see where she got off at. And we're with the cops driving around just to see if we could find them. And we're going to like family members' house that live around us. We're like going to people's houses, like, hey, did she come over here? Because she knows that I live over here. Like we're looking for her. Anyway, we ended up getting a call. The cop told me. Yeah, no, but I'm saying I was with the female cop. He was with the male cop driving around. I was with the female cop. The female cop told me, "Oh, we just got an address," and I was like, "Oh my God!" Like I swear to God, you don't know that feeling, guys. When they tell you that your daughter's lost, my heart just hit the floor. I was like speechless. I didn't know what to do. I could have literally like passed out right there. They told us where she was at. We went and we were driving up and. The older couple's already standing outside with Maya because the cop already got there before we had got there. There's already other cop there. And I get out the car and I run towards her and I'm just like crying. I'm like, oh my God, my baby. It was like the most craziest thing ever. And then when the cops brought us all back home, my husband, he like tripped out. Right, babe? Did you? Yeah. I brought her back home with me, right? Yeah. I was already lost. I was gonna say, yeah, because I know I showed up there before y'all. No, y'all never showed up there. I think they came back home. Him and the cop came back right here to wait for us because we're gonna come back this way, towards our home. And my daughter, like, oh my God, y'all have no idea how stressful that was. And I don't know if that's why I'm like so tight with my kids, and I don't really let my kids go out. I don't let my kids spend other people's houses and stuff. I'm really, really shook when it comes to stuff like that. Because you just can't trust anybody, and I get really, really scared. And that happened right there, and it made it even worse for me. I was already bad not trusting nobody with my kids. When that happened, it made it even worse, and I really didn't trust nothing or nobody. It was the scariest thing ever. I don't wish it on nobody. So yeah, guys, let me see. I'm already about to be at 10 minutes. Thank y'all so much for watching my story time. I'm gonna do another story time and let y'all know about. Y'all just keep eye on my community tab, and y'all see what my next story time is. I still have that Polly story coming, so stay tuned. Bye, everybody.